If you struggle with shyness or social anxiety, check out our free No BS training course with actual useful advice you can do from home. None of that just get out there nonsense. The link is in the description below. For now, let's get to today's question.
The question, what advice can you give to a person who suffers from social anxiety? Answer by Nicholas Grunt. I briefly mentioned above the idea of working through an avoidance hierarchy. Avoidance behavior is a huge part of what causes anxiety. When someone avoids something they need to do due to anxiety, their anxiety will snowball over time. Referenced from Lonely to Social Life in 27 Days. Communicate that you don't see their anxiety as a weakness, character flaw, or a sign of them being incompetent in their life, work, or other roles, and as being a parent or friend. Normalize any types of thoughts you can relate to. There are many types of anxiety-based thoughts that people with anxiety disorders experience that even relatively non-anxious people also experience from time to time. For example, most people can relate to fear of being judged or of asking for something and being told no. You can't expect yourself to cure your loved one's anxiety, no matter how smart you are, how much you care about them, or how much time you are willing to put in. If your friend is getting professional help for anxiety, invite them to tell you about what they're learning and working on. If you think the person might interpret your questioning as checking up on them, you'll need to be sensitive about how you do this. Keep it positive by asking them about any useful insights they've gotten, or any anxiety management techniques they've learned that are working well for them. If there is something that isn't working for them about their sessions with their therapist, encourage them to talk to their therapist directly. People who are anxious often avoid bringing up certain topics with their therapist. There are many different options for what can help with anxiety, and it's all about finding the best fit between the person and the strategies. It's no big deal if one particular approach doesn't work for an individual, since there are many other options to try. Getting help for anxiety is often a big step for someone who habitually avoids things that make them feel anxious. Your loved one will likely need all the encouragement you're able to give. The best thing you can do when someone is having an anxiety attack is to be physically present with the person and help them concentrate on slow breathing. Pay attention to what they seem to find calming and what they seem to find aggravating when they're having an anxiety attack. The person's thoughts will be all over the place when they're in the middle of an anxiety attack, so help them focus their thoughts on their breathing. You can use this overview of breathing techniques for anxiety to learn what to do. There are many ways to help someone with anxiety. You don't need to do all of the above. Pick the 1 or 2 suggestions that are appealing and feel manageable to you and your friend/loved one. Be prepared to experiment. You don't need to always get it right. Remind yourself you're doing the best you can. Answer by Antune Bronu out. I'm not a psychologist, but I might have something to add. I had strong social anxiety. I was lonely back then and I would think excessively about social things in my life. I would get so afraid that I could barely breathe because I thought people would hear me breathe. Social anxiety is caused by a few things. First and foremost, loneliness. Secondly, by bad social experiences. Your situation and your experiences create thoughts. The thoughts interact with your natural psychological needs. The needs will then communicate with you through emotion. The emotion causes action, or behavior. The behavior causes new situations and experiences and thus thoughts. It keeps looping like that. Example, someone looks at you, and you notice it. Based on your past experience, you think they are judging you negatively. Your need for social connection will make you feel ashamed. Due to the shame, you remove yourself from the situation and are now alone at home. Repeat. However, is that a reasonable reaction? I think, if you have more quality social experiences, you will realize that it is not reasonable to think that someone who simply looks at you is judging you negatively. In other words, you need quality social experiences in order to avoid anxiety-inducing thoughts. And also, you need to have quality, reliable, intimate relations with others. A community where you belong. This can be just 12 people, but the key is that it's high quality. Perhaps read some articles or a book on social stuff. I can recommend Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. The last part sounds like manipulation, but trust me, it isn't. It shows how you can influence people in positive ways. It's a fun read and it'll show you many kinds of social interaction and how to make the best out of them. I bet my ass your anxiety will dissolve if you do that. Answer by John Scott. Social anxiety is very best defined as an extreme fear or avoidance of social interaction. It can be a widespread mental illness that impacts 1 in every 5 adults. For a number of people, their social anxiety, might be so terrible that it stops them from generating new close friends, makes them incapable of acquiring a loved a single, make it extremely tricky to seek out employment or sustain a job, results in low self-esteem and depression, results in social isolation, and intense avoidance of social circumstances, uncomfortable feelings in public, which include at school or in a retailer. In intense cases, it may also drive individuals to commit suicide. As you may see, social anxiety could be a pretty severe illness for many people. It might seriously inhibit you from living your life to your fullest possible. Should you notice when experiencing symptoms of SIF for extended periods of time, it truly is crucial that you simply see possible solutions, such as seeing a therapist or investing in a self-help workbook to help you far better manage yourself. The significant thing is the fact that you begin treating your condition ahead of it gets worse. SIF has a tendency to develop into a vicious negative cycle. The much more we let it develop up and impact our habits, the deeper it gets ingrained into our lives. In order to overcome your SIF, you have to start off reversing this negative cycle. Nobody necessarily has to, or deserves to, suffer from the SIF disorder. As such, people who experience the negative effects of social anxiety disorder should compel themselves to avail treatment. Attempt relaxation tactics which include yoga, deep breathing exercise, muscle relaxation, and medication, as they may help you in controlling various physical symptoms of anxiousness. You could quickly get muscle relaxation and deep breathing CDs from online retailers or regional overall health shops. This can be among the list of most prosperous social anxiety disorder therapies, and has worked well for millions who have suffered from social anxiety disorder, social phobia. This therapy is depending on the truth that what you consider will ultimately impact the way you really feel, as well as your feelings possess a direct bearing on your behavior. Consequently, as soon as you happen to be successful in altering the way you think in certain social settings that provoke anxiety in you, do you really feel a lot relaxed and much better. Medication for social anxiety disorder. 3 sorts of drugs used for social anxiety disorder treatment are benzodiazepines, beta blockers, and antidepressants. However, the best remedy for all people that are suffering with this disorder will rely upon the person. Many people will likely be in a position to do well with self-help strategies, even though other people may well want both self-help procedures and medication. There are natural social anxiety treatment methods that can prove to be more beneficial, and these are both easily available and relatively more affordable.